This is Shutters Inc. with Bruce Williams and Glyn Lavender.
Hi and welcome to episode 525 of Shutters Inc. This is Bruce Williams from shuttersincpodcast.com, and that there on Skype, once again from Melbourne, Victoria, Mr. Glyn Lavender from creativephotoworkshops.com.au. How are you?
Hello, everybody.
How's things?
I am well.
Excellent.
Oh, up and down.
How did the footy go the other night?
What footy the other night?
Weren't you watching a football game a couple of nights ago when I buzzed you?
Oh, I was watching, I was intra club, so we beat ourselves. Yeah. But on positive note, we did win. Here's the thing, we've had two intra-club games so far,
okay,
and we've won both of them, which is pretty good.
Fantastic.
And then yesterday we had our first pre-season game against another team, and got spanked. So we're 2 for 3, which isn't bad. That's about a 66% winning ratio so far, which is,
excellent.
When you think about it,
that's
not
good.
too bad.
That is great.
Yeah, no, we looked diabolical yesterday, and but mind you, we did play the reigning top team, the reigning premiers.
Oh, okay.
They were full strength, and we had our three best people who play in the middle.
Right.
People who don't know what we're talking about weren't playing. So yeah, we only lost by a tiny bit more than the number 2 team in the league last year in the grand final. So. Look at it that way, It's all how you try and phrase it to make yourself feel better about yourself.
That's right. That's it.
And you've been off for a few weeks. How'd you get on?
Really good, yeah. So we went down to Wagga last weekend to see Max's Marching Out Parade.
Yes. Is that what you were down there for when there were all the touch football things?
That's right. Yes, yeah. So we had to stay in a little village called Junee, which is about 35 kilometres outside of Wagga. But yeah, it was great. Had a great time down there. And
can I ask a question though?
Sure. Do
you just wave and they leave? So you get there, you wave, and they just walk off and they're gone, and you don't get to see them and say, "Well, that was good."
Not quite.
Is that what you mean by marching out? They just march out and they're gone.
Yeah. So
how far are they marching? Until they stop.
That's it. So because they don't want civilians just willy-nilly wandering all over the army base, what they do is so you park your car in the car park and then you hop on an army bus and they bus you around to the parade ground and guide you into the seating that overlooks the parade ground. And then they give you a commentary about everything that's going to happen.
They're going to march out that way?
That's
right.
Wave
as they go?
That's it. So there were 2 platoons. Max was in one of them, obviously. And
I want to say, if you touched me in 2 of them.
That's right.
The boy's got talents we never knew.
That's it.
The army's brought out a whole other side of him, literally.
So they do their marching out parade, which goes for about 45 minutes, and then they all march off the parade ground into the car park, and then they get to fall out, and we got to spend about 10 minutes with him. Then he gets summoned back, and they have to go off and do some administrative stuff. And we were then told the army will bus them all into the town of Wagga Wagga and drop them at the train station at 1 o'clock. And so Max had said, meet us at the Victoria pub. So we just met him there, and he was then able to spend the next 28 hours with us from 1 o'clock Friday through till 5 o'clock Saturday. He came out to Junee with us, and we went and did the licorice and chocolate factory, which is kind of like the highlight of Junee.
The light of Junee.
Exactly. And then, we took him back and dropped him off. And then, so Saturday night, dropped him off at the train station. He gets back on an army bus, takes him back out to the Kapuka base. And then on Monday, he jumped on a bus, again, an army...
Goes to Ukraine.
Army-supplied bus. Yeah, well, we were worried about that. That bus took him to Holsworthy base in Sydney.
Another one, yeah.
And so he's got to do a 4-week course before he does what's called IET, Initial Employment Training, which is the 12-week course where he'll learn all of his specialist skills as a combat engineer. The 4-week course that he's got to do first, which was meant to start in March, is now not going to start until July.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. So he's in what's called a holding platoon until then. He'll do that 4-week course, and then at some point after that, he'll get to do his IET training for another 12 weeks. And once he's finished that, then he can be stationed at a combat engineer regiment around the country, of which there are only 3. And as for the whole Ukraine thing, he can't get shipped overseas to a combat zone until he has spent 12 months in a posting within Australia within his specialist field as a combat engineer. So basically he's got to do 12 months as a combat engineer before he can be deployed overseas into a combat zone. So yeah.
I don't think there's much risk of troops being sent in anyway, but yeah, there might be other ancillary duties that might be needed. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. So
uncertain times, my friend, uncertain times. And speaking of the military, I want to pay tribute to Sally Kellerman today.
Who is Sally
Today's
Kellerman?
episode. Sally Kellerman was the original Hot Lips Houlihan in the movie MASH.
Right.
She died overnight. So there we are.
That's
so
good.
just So it's not good for her. I mean, it doesn't really affect me. Personally, it doesn't have a lot of effect. But it seems we're talking military, and that's kind of it was apt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what have you been up to in the last 3 weeks?
What have I been up to? Bugger all. Had some health dramas, but
that's no good.
Yeah, and no, it hasn't been good. And a little accident with the chainsaw, which fortunately wasn't the thing that caused the health dramas.
Right.
So hence now why I just had to take a phone call before from a tree lopper who's coming down to do the job properly.
Right.
Just don't they glint your sharp tools?
Do you still have 10 fingers and 10 toes?
Yes, just most of them in a box. They're in a box in the freezer, keep them cold.
Right. Excellent.
Fortunately, I jammed the chainsaw into a tree branch before the drama started. So
right.
So this is the thing. Here's a little tip for young players. If you're reaching really high to chop a tree branch down, so you're above your head, so you can't come down from the top of the branch downwards. You also can't go up from the bottom because at some point the weight of the tree branch will lock your blade inside the tree branch.
Correct.
So there's a young tip for everybody, and see what you have to do then is try and get another saw and hold the chainsaw in one hand while sawing the top of the branch with the other hand. And then at some point, it's all coming down. And it all came down on me, and knocked me over and flattened me on the ground and cut me up in a few bits and pieces, just cuts from the branches, not cuts from the chainsaw. Right. And then it's quick, brush up, don't let them know. What can I hide? then I'm still laying sort of a bit dazed on the ground, and the old Apple Watch starts going, it looks like you've had a fall. Please press this button to say you're okay, or we call the cops in 10 seconds. It starts counting down. I was like, what? Not something to say. So it was a good test of that. It's good to know that works.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
That was a positive. And I've also been practicing my guitar as well.
Yeah.
I've had 3 lessons of the guitar now, and being trying to get a bit of daily practice in, which is what I was doing when you buzzed earlier. So
nice.
No, you should hear it. It's not nice at all. It's quite unpleasant to the ear.
Right. It can't be as bad as a child practicing a violin. It can't be that bad.
No, because I can't put headphones on when I'm plonking away, which is going to take some of the curse off for other people around. So I've been enjoying that, but I'm finding it. My biggest issue is trying to get my fingers not to dampen other strings when doing chords.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe I need to use that chainsaw and slim them down a little bit, you press on one string and it kind of rests on the other. It doesn't matter how you put your hand, the other one goes plunk,
right.
Which is near. So if there's anyone out there who's got tips for that, feel free to shoot through an email. Yeah, other than the aforementioned chainsaw incident, don't reduce the fingers. Or file, I'm not going to file them down either. Right. I was thinking about taping them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, put like string really tightly around your fingers so it squishes them down. Like the Chinese ladies have to do for their feet to bind their feet. I could slip just for the hour or so I'm practicing, and then when they fall off,
Yeah.
I have to use further up the finger, which is even fatter. Yeah, so that's all I've really been doing. No photography. Well, there is a bit of photography. I've just cancelled my November tour.
Oh, why?
So
that was India,
health,
right?
Yeah, health. I just can't be assured that I'll be healthy enough to be able to run it.
Oh, mate, that's no good.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Hey. And I'll know in a couple of months whether I need surgery, and if that's the case, then that'll kind of delay your recovery as well. I just even though I feel maybe I could run it now, I can't take the risk on people booking and stuffing everyone around or getting over the far worse, getting over there and not being able to perform.
Yeah, right.
So I've had to. Devastating. It's the only thing I've been looking forward to for a year and a half. It's my one bright spark ahead, and that's gone now. So that's been pretty depressing.
So, do you think you'll ever get back to doing international tours again?
Don't know if I'll get back to working, dude.
Wow.
Certainly not workshops. I couldn't run a workshop right now.
Even locally?
No, I can't put in 4 or 6 hours of effort.
Wow.
I just don't have the. Yeah, I could fall over after 20 minutes of effort or 60 minutes of effort, or I've got no, and I have no recovery ability anymore. So you can recover it if you did 10 minutes work. You can sort of recover in 20 minutes maybe.
Wow.
It could take me up to a day and a half at the moment to recover. So
wow.
I'm kind of shot. So yeah,
mate, that's not good.
Not good. And they had this thing called atrial fibrillation this week, where my heart was trip hammering at all sorts of different speeds for a period, and that's new. So that's something.
Oh, it's a good thing you didn't try to become a drummer then. I mean, look on that side. That's a good thing.
Mind you, that was faster the song. We'll get to slow down. So it's all a bit all over the shop at the moment.
Oh, mate.
A bit gutting.
That's a bit rough.
What are you to do? You can't let it get you down.
Yeah.
You've got to just keep moving forward, and it is what it is. It'll be what it'll be, and
right.
Yeah, who knows? So no work for me for who knows when, and then it may become the point where I have to quit photography and just go and do like a little job I could do for 2 or 3 hours a day or something, which there's not many of those around either. So I might have to retire. Yeah,
wow.
So, yeah,
that's rough.
That's put a bit of a dampener on the old episode. It's the lucky 525 episode, too.
It is. Why is it lucky?
What? I thought you were going to tell me.
Just lucky that we made it this far.
lucky I'm still here to be doing it. I'll tell you a funny story. Can I tell you a funny, slightly photography-related story?
Sure.
And hope he doesn't listen. My father-in-law.
Yeah.
We're having dinner at a pub the other night. We had a little family dinner. And he goes, I had an urge to a week or so ago to get my drone out and do some flying with my drone. And I got it out, and he says, everything I could do, that thing just doesn't work anymore. It stopped working. It's a couple of years old. It stopped working. I thought, no point getting it repaired, because the cost of repair is probably the price of a new one. So he ordered a new one. And the new one arrives, and he starts reading the instruction manual, and with the DJI drones, there's a special way of turning them on. It's a short press followed by a long press.
Right.
Because, gee, I wonder. So he went over to his old drone and did the short press, and he just forgotten how to turn it on. There's a proud owner. But you know what? When I used to have my drone, I used to do the same thing. I'd pick it, I hadn't used it for a while, I pick it up. How do you turn it on?
Yeah.
I can't remember how to turn it on.
Yeah.
There's no simple switch. It's this silly bloody short press, long press on the same button. And it's like, poor bugger. So he's now the proud owner. So I'm trying to see if I can inherit, early,
At least one drone. Yeah.
Too funny. So for any people out there struggling with the drone, try the short press and the long press. It's been an episode of great community service, this one so far. We've taught people how to use chainsaws, how to turn on the drones. Yeah.
Excellent. Shall we talk some photography?
We should, because I'm going to go pick the kids up from school soon, so we should.
Cool. What do you got on your list?
I've got only a couple of things, but things that I found moderately interesting.
Yeah.
First up, Sigma have announced a whole flank of lenses for Fuji Fujifilm cameras.
Okay.
Which I thought was really good, because I mean the the range has been pretty limited to date from third-party manufacturers.
Right.
And I don't really know why. It's been 10 years that the system's been out, and they've been very popular for, I don't know, at least 8 of those years, I'd imagine.
Okay.
So that's good. So if you're a Fujifilm user, and look at Sigma's got a range of their like 16 mils and 30 mils, and 3 1.4 lenses that they're coming out with. So that's kind of cool.
Okay.
The other one I call Nonsia Business.
Yeah.
Because there's a camera brand called Nons come out on Kickstarter.
Okay.
And it's it takes Fuji Instax, so another Fuji thing, Fuji Instax film,
Right.
but has Canon RF lens mount.
Oh.
So you can put Canon. I think there's only a limited range of focal lengths you can put on, but Canon lens mounts, and it's got an old waist level viewfinder, like the old Hasselblads and stuff.
Wow.
So it looks like a pretty cool piece of kit. My only drama was it's $700 Australian dollars is the Kickstarter bonus cheap price,
Right.
which
Okay.
seems exy.
Yeah.
But they've raised $104,000 of their $8,800 goal on Kickstarter.
Nice.
But straight away I'm going, well, if the goal was only $8,800, what on earth could you build for $8,800?
Not
If the
much.
camera's $700, what you build 11, or you build a few. I couldn't even imagine you could build a prototype for that price. The molds and whatever cost more than that.
Yeah.
So it seemed to. I don't know if I'm starting to think that these Kickstarter things, to guarantee they get their money regardless, is they start with a stupid low price. Because
Right.
once it's achieved over a certain price, they get the money basically.
Yeah, right.
So they've got 104. They've got 104,000 in the bank
Yep.
effectively. When they only asked for it. So if they disappeared now,
Yep.
they got $104,000. I don't know. So it's, which led me to, funny enough, I did go read the comments as you do,
Okay.
and the first one had me on the first one, and so I didn't even bother looking at the rest. It just says it takes cat pictures. I'm in because the demonstration picture was a cat. So that's good enough. But then some guy there was another comment talking about, no, I'm sick of these Kickstarter things. I backed this tripod and it never ever showed, and it failed. And so I went and looked at what it was, and it was some tripod for iPhones, which I thought was kind of weird anyway itself.
Yeah.
But they had an interesting story, and I thought I'd read out a little bit of the story for people who think about Kickstarters. It said, after an extended period, we'd like to share an update on the entire situation and the current status of the project. After the crowdfunding campaign was over, we went to China and contracted a factory to create the tripod. This place was located in Shenzhen, China. Unfortunately, after multiple breaches of contract, we had to hire a law firm to bring mitigation against them. Now, this is a problem you have in dealing there. The copyright is a suggestion at best.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're taking something that's brand new over there, there's a fair chance that if not the people you're talking to, they're passing the information on to somebody else to get a kickback.
Yep.
So according to these people, someone they stole the concept and started making. And then with the pandemic outbreak, it became impossible to fly back to China to deal with the issues between public institutions and the law firm. And as the China's borders remain closed, we do not have any updates from the lawyer, and the factory is ignoring contact.
Wow.
We'd like to manufacture the tripod, but it's impossible. And here's the killer. We cannot issue any refunds since the money's been paid to the factory in China according to the contract. And since the money went on payments for design, the molds, which we're talking about, the molds, legs, metal frame for the camera mount, the PCBA for the remote shutter control, the polycarbonate case and other needed components. There's to complete manufacturing. And since there's no legal solution up to this moment for us to get our money back, we cannot offer refunds. We didn't give up and tried to attract another investor for additional funds, but we couldn't interest anyone, which is fair enough, because why would you buy into a product that's already maybe been compromised and it's already been manufactured by 15 companies? In case we manage to find a new investor for the funds to create the tripod, we will then ship all the rewards to everyone, but we have no funds to pursue the matter further and decided we should apply to dissolve the company. So that's the risk of these things, isn't it? It's a good idea that obviously enough people liked, and then just all fell in a hole. That's something of the pandemic I hadn't really taken into account either, is that thing. And I don't know if you're a small company going in trying to maintain intellectual property, dealing with people who, I'm not saying this company's either there, but it's an issue. It doesn't matter who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful of your intellectual property. And these people obviously weren't enough, and bang, all gone.
Wow.
So that was interesting. And the last thing I've got is the new Olympus OM1.
Okay.
So the OM system have announced their first official camera as OM system rather than Olympus. And I thought it was interesting. It just still says Olympus on top of the camera, which I thought, well, yeah, that's interesting. Because that's something I was thought about. What are they going to do about branding? As far as branding's concerned, when that company took over, OM system they became, not the Olympus name, but they're still using the Olympus name. And I've got to say, I love the fact that it just says OM1, because I started with an OM2, but the OM1s and OM2s were my favourite of all-time cameras, and still up there with some of my favourite all-time cameras.
Right.
And so just to see that name again, OM1 out there as a camera, makes me want to go out and get one. Just to just because nostalgia's not what it used to be, but I still would like one. If Olympus want to give me one,
yeah.
But I don't know why they would, because I don't take photos, and I might not be taking photos anymore again. But but still, I'd like one.
Yeah.
So all right, send one my way. But one of the reasons I brought up, I have an interesting story about how the OM1 became the OM1, the original OM1.
Okay.
So back in whatever year, 1971 or whatever it was, the OM1 came out.
Right.
Olympus were setting up a stand or a booth, depending which country you're in, at Photokina in Germany to announce these new OM series of cameras. And when they came out, they were revolutionary because they were so small. And they called it the M1. Right?
Oh, okay.
And so it was called the M1, and they had all there. And the night before the Photokina was to open, they were going to do this big launch. Leica came up and slapped a lawsuit on them. And said, no, we've got the M series cameras, M1, M2, M3. You can't call it that. So the night before Photokina launched, they had to run out and find an engraving company to engrave O in front of the M. So they're all out there and colouring in or doing who knows what. But I thought that's a classic thing. Yeah, how such a famous camera got its name is such a funny story. So that was kind of cool. So if you're an Olympus user, I know Dave Fulton, one of our regular listeners, he's got a bunch of early gear.
Yep.
But once again, I think the price is probably going to be one of those things that's just too expensive for most folk to want to be interested in, but still.
Right.
They give them out for free.
A lot cheaper than, your three flagship brands, though. Like, you're looking at Canon, Nikon, Sony.
It is, but it's not a Canon, Nikon, or Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, so you can't really compare. You can't really. You can't ask for the same sort of prices as what you would for a flagship Nikon or Canon or Sony. But so I still struggle to see Sony as a flagship company. It just doesn't.
Okay.
Just doesn't. They're lovely cameras, but they make lovely TVs too. Yeah. So, you pay Nikon and Canon don't make TV, so they're better.
Since 2005, Shutters Inc. has been a labour of love. But beyond the time required to produce it, there is also a financial commitment. If you find value in the podcast and would like to help keep the servers running, hit up the Patreon link, which is in the show notes. Even a couple of dollars a month will help. Much appreciated. Now, back to the podcast.
So what have you got on your list? Anything interesting?
So I've got a couple of things from Paul Sutton.
Nice.
One was that Leica have just released 2 watches.
Really?
So a timepiece for your wrist.
Do you press the watch and it activates your Leica camera?
No.
No, because it's all mechanical and manual. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, they're analog cameras. And
$9,000 $9,000?
No. They are more expensive than the $9,000 M11 rangefinder. So these 2 watches are going for $10,000 and $14,000 respectively. US
dollars. So that's pushing 20,000 Australian.
Yep. So certainly.
Wow. I mean, I like a good watch. They're pretty.
Boom.
Yeah, it's pretty and all, but wow.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem is, watches are one of those things that attract a certain type.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, like train spotters and stuff. And you get the very first one comment in the comment section. I'll stick with my old beloved Marine Star 98H37. I love the blue dial and bezel with the white and gold trim. Oh, f*** off. Just, you can shove that watch, don't you? And every time you fart, people can hear you ticking. But really, what does that mean? Hey, okay, you're not interested in the watch, fair enough, shut up.
Yeah.
But then to come on, my 98H37 with the blue trim and gold,
whatever,
just a pretentious wanker. Yeah. Then who needs a watch in the smartphone age except to show off? That's a good one. I use a watch. I've got an Apple Watch, but that kind of links to my phone and it does lots of stuff. And it's what told me I was having my health issues this week. So that's I woke up feeling unwell. And I pressed the button to check my heart. So, it has the ability to check on this. So there's good reasons to have wrist devices still. Yep. And if you're going out somewhere nice, to have a lovely watch on is not a bad thing either.
Absolutely.
It's pretty. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
One thing I have to say, that mechanical timepieces depreciate less or even accrue in value compared to their digital counterparts. So it's fair enough. Yeah. Yep. So it could be an investment as opposed to an Apple Watch. Well, not really. Because an Apple Watch is $500. This is $14,000. So there's 28 Apple Watches, 28 series of Apple Watches you can be buying. If they come out every 2 years, there's 56 years worth of watches you could buy. Yeah, and if you only buy 50 years worth, you're still up. You're still ahead.
There you go. There you go.
So, maybe not so good for the environment. Oh, here we go. I recently purchased several SKMEI 1389 watches at the grand sum of £8 each. The digital section seems to drift a few seconds a week, but the analog section's good, which is kind of funny. How on earth is the digital going faster? Oh, that's cool. I'm just going to go and keep that page open. I'm going to go through that later on and enjoy that. I got a cup of tea. Yeah. After I pick the kids up from school, I'll get the cup of tea and I'll sit and watch that one. Thanks, Paul. What else we got?
The next one he's got is using modern smartphones to find hidden spy cameras as discovered by the boffins in Singapore and South Korea.
Boffins. Yeah. Boffins. There's two things I can't stand. There's two things... No, that's not true, Bruce. That's a complete utter lie. There's billions of things I can't stand. I'm an opinionated asshole. But boffins... Yeah. For scientists, it diminishes their years of dedication.
Absolutely.
And cops instead of police.
Right.
I hate being called cops in journalism. Just, doesn't my head in. Anyway. Yeah. So what are the boffins / scientists discovered?
Recent model smartphones can be smarter still about finding hidden cameras in their vicinity if they take advantage of time-of-flight sensors. And apparently these time-of-flight sensors are a little bit like LiDAR in that they rely on reflected light to quickly determine the distance of objects. And some new smartphones are now having these sensors built into them. And so these researchers in Singapore and South Korea figured that you could use those sensors in these new smartphones to detect where hidden spy cameras have been placed in an environment, because this is becoming more and more of an issue, people spying on people they shouldn't be and blah, 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 blah. So, interesting. I haven't had a chance to watch the video that came along with that blog post, but
I think some of these boffins should hang out with some of the watch people, though, because they're dedicated detection devices for finding hidden cameras like the CC308 Plus and the K18. It's a modern under episode, really, isn't it?
There you go. So anyway, I'll put that in the show notes for those that want to read. And I found a couple of things just before we started the recording. Photographer.
So the seconds of research you put in for the episode.
Exactly. Photographer recreates.
That's pretty poor. Because I put in at least 12 minutes worth.
12 minutes?
Put in a few seconds. I know, right? If you put in a couple of seconds, I mean, I think the listeners will now know who's the more dedicated to this podcast.
That's right. Totally. Photographer recreates famous landmarks out of household items. So this was just a collection of images, but it was the first one that caught me. Was just some plates and some bowls stacked up on on another bowl to almost like they were drying after having been washed, but it looks like the Sydney Opera House. And there's just some great stuff here. There's some
the corks to make Stonehenge is pretty good. Yeah. Except it's completely unrealistic because the sun that's setting in the background or rising doesn't rise on that angle over Stonehenge, so he's got that wrong. Right? So
do you want to quote a model number to go along with that, mate?
If you're going to do it bloody properly.
So some good stuff there. And then the last one that I've got is watch this stop motion film made out of over 600 light painted still images. And it's a short video. It only goes for about 1:20, and it's got this light painted cowboy walking through different scenes. So obviously the cowboy is a person who's got these lights all attached to his body, and they've taken all these still images and then converted it into a video, and it looked very clever. So I was having
we did one a few years ago of a guy skateboarding. Do you remember that one? There's a guy skateboarding down through a city at night.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, so same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Stupid, ridiculous amount of work involved, and incredibly talented. Sickening, Just there's one there. The elevator's so cool. The way they've done the elevator in this thing is excellent.
Right. I haven't got that far. No, I didn't get through all of it.
Answer.
Yeah.
So you open up by saying it's like an 80-second. It's an 80-second video, and you haven't got through all of it yet.
I said I found them just before we started recording.
People, I think we have it's an 80-second bloody video, dude, and you haven't got. And I think the elevator shut up in the first 10 seconds.
Oh, did it? Okay.
You haven't got to that part yet. I haven't got to that part yet.
Okay. Anyway,
that's gold, Bruce. It's gold. Don't let anyone say we don't take this podcast bloody seriously, because we're putting seconds of effort into this thing.
That's right. All right, mate. Well, I will let you go and pick up your kids from school.
Yes. Thanks, matey.
And we will...
awesome. So we're on 2 weeks' time again? So back to our 2-week schedule?
Yep.
Beautiful. Awesome.
Cool.
Take
all
care,
right, mate,
everybody.
will you look after yourself?
Oh, as best as I can.
Yeah. And we will talk to you soon. Bye.
See you, everyone. Bye.
You've been listening to Shutters Inc. For questions, comments and feedback, email theboys@shuttersincpodcast.com.